Drainage Board meeting, Johnson County Drainage Board. On what is today, August 5th, 2025 at 6:03. Okay. First on the agenda would be surveyor's report. Well, hold on just a second. Roger,
Yeah.
did you swear in anybody?
Okay, all of you folks that know yourselves to be witnesses, please stand, raise your right hand. You and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give to this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
You're on, Greg.
Minutes.
Yeah, look for an approval on minutes.
I move the minutes be approved.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now
For the
you're on,
record,
Greg.
Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. Before you are the ditch balances and expenditures for last month. You can tell by the expenditures, the assessments came in. You'll notice on the Powell, there was a lot of maintenance. And that leads to my second item. The Powell, a section of it north of Lancer Drive. This is in North Point subdivision, just off US 31 there in Franklin. The Powell runs kind of along the east side of that addition. So from Lancer, which is the last drive on the north side of that addition, going north, we did some reconstruction. We've pulled tree roots out. The actual tile we found to be a lot closer into the subdivision. So that nice tree line that kind of blocked the addition from US 31 is actually thriving on the tile. So we ended up having to replace a tile through there, but it's all opened up now. We do still have, if you remember, back in September of 21, we declared that section urban. And the city of Franklin was going to work with us in reconstructing because they have some issues within the subdivision, that North Point subdivision, and our tile runs under that. We kind of took long because we didn't have the funds to do anything. They've kind of backed down, but now that we've got north of Lancer Drive, we're hoping to reconnect with Franklin and get something done south of Lancer Drive. Probably be next year. Ditch spraying is complete. Our contractor, they spray for Shelby County and Johnson County. So every other year they start in Shelby and then they do us. And then the next year they start it with us and do Shelby. This year they started Shelby first and we had a wet season. So they were late getting here. We did not get complete all that we wanted to complete. Crops were just getting too tall and we want to stay away from not causing them too much damage. So we stopped and we'll continue where we left off next year. That contract is up for bid again, so we'll have to put that together this fall. Petitions and applications. We've been busy at the surveyor's office. We had one that we didn't get the notices verified. It was a preliminary and they'll be back for a final on that one. And we've talked to them about notification on that final. It was a plat. But we've come, especially when it comes to the municipals. There's just so much back and forth between the developer, the engineer, and our outside reviewer. And then sometimes they even have to go back to the municipality before they can come back. And that 30-day window is tough. So from here on out, we're going to explain as they make those petitions, they're not going to be guaranteed that 30-day window. Because it just gets too hectic right there at the end. And then we're also going to look at that as we develop the 2026 calendar. Perhaps some longer period between application and hearing. We also dealt with in our applications and petitions the review fees. The outside engineer review fees we bill back to the developer. But we're beginning to get a list that have not paid, and some of those projects have some age to them. So we're going to shift and we're going to do a permit. So that even though they come through here and get their project approved, we're going to issue a permit letter or an approval letter. But before we'll issue that letter, we've put in the application packet that all the fees will need to be paid.
Another way to do it is just not let them on the agenda until they can confirm that they've paid.
And the only problem with that is it's such a late review time that it could be 2 months later before they actually get a bill in. So it makes it tough, but we're going to work on that as we work on that 2026.
How many delinquencies are you looking at, Greg? 40? 20? Okay.
Let me ask you this, if they don't pay, do we have to cover that for them? How does that work? Because
Yes,
they're not hiring the engineer, actually, we're hiring them.
we actually pay it and they
Okay.
reimburse.
I got you. So the ones that don't pay, we eat that. We basically have
Correct.
assisted them in their development. Okay.
Youngs Creek watershed. Where everybody can see it. And I'm old school, sorry about that.
Might have to move it out of the,
I do. I do paper. Do very well. This is the same one that's over here. Everybody hear me? I'll talk loud. This is what we talked about last month. In the Youngs Creek watershed with the, we actually have 3 petitions tonight that are involved in this area. Basically, it's 2, the green and the gold are existing regulated watersheds. And then the red and the yellow are additional. What we did was we took the areas in question, and this is that watershed that starts behind, again, Flapjacks. Finally got that right. And then comes down and actually ends up in downtown Franklin, Youngs Creek. We looked at this area. The 2 additional watersheds that aren't regulated would be the Gilmore and the Youngs Creek. Combined, all 4 watersheds cover 5,357 acres. They have 750 parcels. If we held currently the Alexander and the Robart, they have the same assessment rates. So if we carried that over to the 2 unregulated, as if they were assessed, the potential for that combined watershed would be 56,716. An additional area would be south of this, along the east side of this is the Tracy. But if you continue along Youngs Creek for 20,000 feet. It loops back up and it hits Brewer. So right now, the municipalities of these four would just be Bargersville, Greenwood, and Johnson County. But if you continued to looking at that another 20,000 feet, you would have all the municipalities. You'd have Bargersville, Greenwood, New Whiteland, and Franklin. Met with engineer and surveyor today to kind of get an idea of what we could do. The idea is that this needs studied. You really don't know what the problem is or what the capacity is until you study it. We felt that the combined watersheds somehow, and there were a couple of different ways to do it, but by combining those watersheds, it created a bigger base that you could work with. We estimated for a study of this area, $500,000. If you divided that by the 750, you're looking at $667 per parcel. What we would ultimately like to see happen is we would like to get a letter from a municipality, either Bargersville or the county commissioners, which would then allow us to consider these two new sections, Youngs and Gilmore, for a regulated hearing. And then along with that, we would like to meet with the municipalities so that we kind of formulate an idea of how we could go about getting this study done. Different ways. We talked about edit money, TIF money. If the municipalities are involved in it, then we're looking at perhaps maybe their stormwater utility funds could help out. So what I'm asking for tonight is we've got 3 petitions. All those petitions have met the ordinance. So surveyor would recommend hearing them tonight. He would recommend the board going along with having a meeting. I don't know if we want to have that as a drainage board meeting or try and have a some kind of offsite meeting with those municipalities.
Greg, if you have a majority of this governing body present to receive information, it is a de facto meeting.
So I'm going to leave that up to you guys. How we want to organize that meeting, but I think it's important that we get them together if we're going to go forward and try and figure out how we can do a study. With that study, you still have reconstruction, you still have a problem. It's just that you now know what the problem is. The nice thing about having the study is that you can downsize those release rates. So either one section or the whole section, you can narrow the release rates with a resolution. And that would help them. What you're doing is basically designing the release rate to match the capacity, the true capacity of those ditches. I think that would be a good start. Still needs reconstruction, especially that 20,000 foot loop down there at Youngs Creek. It's never been touched. That's as wild as George King found it back in the 1800s. It's going to need maintenance, and I think with maintenance and reconstruction and the release rates, we can probably put this where it needs to be. But before we do anything, we need to meet, figure out how we're gonna start.
Couple of questions for you, Greg. What length of time are we looking for a study?
Probably looking at a year,
Reconstruction?
20 years.
In the meantime, what do people do?
In the meantime, what you would do, once you have that study complete, you know the capacity of each one of those drains within that watershed. And you can down that release to where it should be. So that it does not have an adverse effect on the drain. It's probably going to mean choking some of those release rates down quite a bit, but
Is that with the new reconstruction after or prior?
you would have reconstruction after that. You would
You would
get those
shrink it
release
down
rates
during construction and
then over time you would have reconstructions.
more capacity. What's the board got to say about that?
We used to say it's Youngs Creek, but it's not Franklin and this first. section.
This that you have in front of you does not include what would be New Whiteland and Franklin. Because I did not bring that all the way around.
Oh.
That extra 20,000 feet to hit Brewer. Once you hit Brewer, then you have those other guys involved.
I think it's that big a deal. You want to bring them all in.
Yeah, as I'm kind of thinking, especially Franklin. If you just stay with what we talked about that's on this board, you know, they have a dog in the fight because they're the ones getting the water, but yet they don't have any muscle. They don't have any way to contribute to it.
You might inform the audience of how much percentage of water in Johnson County comes through downtown Franklin.
Well, if you live downtown, you'll think about all of it. It comes from Youngs Creek and then from the other side, Amity and Hurricane.
So it's a large percentage of the whole county that comes through downtown Franklin.
It is.
Okay. So what's the board want to do? Do you want to think about this? Do you want to move forward tonight? What information was just presented?
Lot,
Mhm.
say, we should at least meet us to figure out what we're gonna do.
With municipalities.
Yeah.
See who's buying in and who's not buying in.
And I also, between now and the meeting, want to meet with council. Because we do have a couple of tools in our pocket. One with, if it's determined that your specific improvements, your development is adding to the need for that reconstruction, there's a possibility that you could be on the cusp for the reconstruction, or at least a larger portion of it. And also, and this is the one that I thought was a hoot. And I apologize, Roger, for not giving you a heads up. IC 36-9-27-17 2B. If the county surveyor determines that a regulated drain is not adequate to handle the additional flow of the water resulting from the connection without reconstruction, the county surveyor shall deny the request.
Mhm.
And the request may not be granted until the regulated drain is reconstructed. So that might be a ammo for our pistol. But
I didn't know there was a pistol brought to the game.
Sounds like more like a bazooka.
Yeah.
but you know, that helps bring maybe the municipalities into it.
Yeah, they definitely need to be involved. I mean, just speaking off the cuff, just being informed of this, I think the other municipalities need to be included in this because it will ultimately affect them once it hits the Brewer Ditch. So have to herd those cats together and have a meeting to see which direction we want to go and costs and how much contribution we'll get from the outside on this. So. But the board will need to make a recommendation on this.
Or maybe just to have the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Two members of the board can be at the meeting without,
If it's a public meeting, we can all be there. If not, you can destine two people to sit on that and carry the board's wishes forward.
Would they be all together in one meeting, or you gotta meet separately?
No, that would be Greg's job to get them all together in one room at one time, which is a difficult task to have the right
Yeah.
players. I've had to do it before and it's very difficult.
Well, that much money, you don't wanna do it twice. Do it right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I would move we direct the surveyor to convene the meeting. All the municipality representatives.
And I would have to have two recommendations from the board to sit on that. I would, I'm not speaking for Andrew since he's not here, but he's got the experience because he works in this every day.
Would you be there representing the commissioners anyway?
I'll probably have to, yeah, because it will probably come before us and it would be better if I had firsthand knowledge of that. So I'll inform Andrew.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's the motion. Will you cover you, Greg, on at least getting the initial started on this?
Get me
before we
started.
Convene the survey and see the monies and, okay. All right, well, I have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Got some work to do, Greg. Staff does too.
That's another two.
Are you done dropping bombshells today or we're gonna keep going?
You know, I don't have anything else in my report.
Okay.
Aye.
Roger, you'd probably be in those meetings also,
I'd be happy to attend.
so. All right. Any questions for the surveyor? Okay, we'll move on. DR 3590-25 Meadowbrook, sections 1A, 1B, lift station. It's on the Robards Pruner, regulated drain.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. This has been reviewed by the outside engineer, and I do have a recommendation of approval.
So
Everybody take it on.
you can go ahead.
Hello, my name is Gavin Baker. I'm with Kimley Horn and Associates. We are at 500 East 96th Street, Suite 300, Indianapolis, Indiana. I am here on behalf of Four Star seeking approval for an encroachment into the Roberts Pruner Open Ditch with 3 proposed outfall and 1 proposed culvert crossing with road and utility infrastructure at the point of crossing. The overall site, this is the overall site. I have a couple other pictures in this slideshow that we can get to if conversations arise, but the overall site contains approximately 151.3 acres with it roughly split in half for State Road 135. 61.2 acres reside east of State Road 135 and 90.1 acres reside west of State Road 135. Sections 1A and 1B are outlined in red on that image. And consists of approximately 70 acres, 140 single-family lots, 3 commercial blocks, and a park block that will be dedicated to the town of Bargersville. And then there's also some off-site grading for future sections. Like Greg said, we received additional approval from FERC on July 29th. And we submitted for those minor outstanding comments related to the SWIP. And we are hoping to this board tonight. I just want to thank you for your time and consideration. And I'm available if you guys have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
You have someone in the audience.
Well, I will. I'll get to you in just a second. Okay. Now, does anybody have anything from the audience? Go ahead.
Larry Vandenberg, 4599 North, 225 West, Franklin, Indiana. And this project dumps a lot of water on my property. And I have some pictures that I'm gonna help Greg out. But first thing about Greg, thanks for spraying the ditches. They did a very good job. But you need to kill this Johnson grass. They don't quite kill it. Does a really good job of everything. Can I pass some pictures out? Yeah. I know they're matter of record, right?
Thank you.
What's that?
Sure.
I've got 2 different sets that was. You've got the number 1.
This one's here. So next. Section. This one. It's like this. Oops. Very good stuff.
Before we go any further, Larry, I got one question for the engineer.
Okay,
This is the same one that was brought before us last month?
that was, you only got one picture last month. That was the number 1 picture
This
on
is a
520.
different one? Oh, geez.
It's the same area.
Same ditch. If you look at 5425. That's what I brought before you on the structure. Or the Scottsdale ditch. Showing that the water after 1 inch of rain. Was like 6 inches. Before it went over the culvert. That's on 5425. Number 1 picture. Has everybody got it?
Mhm.
Okay. You still got a question? But that was what I brought forth on the number one picture for Scottsdale, and they're gonna add 118 homes on 50 acres, and all this water is gonna go down the same ditch. So the picture on number 1 and 725. That's a picture of a culvert that I have on my farm. And this is what this is looking southwest. And this is number 2 picture is looking to the south. That's my culvert that I can't get across, of course. This is the road right alongside the fire station. Goes back to my picture on number 3 picture. After an inch and a half of rain, all this water came from Bargersville to my down the Robards Brenner ditch, going down across my property. Number 4, same similar picture, same similar. You can see there's a red flag. That's the middle of the road down through there, and that's just the water going through my field of beans. And if you go back to the 5-4 pictures, picture number 2, which would be some of them on the front page. That's just my culvert that's all caved in. It's got all the corner stalks that's went over the banks before. Number 3 picture, that's me looking across my field, and that's 135 where that white car is. That's the amount of water that goes through after an inch and a half of rain going across my property. Number 4 picture, similar, same picture going across my property. Number 5, said about the same thing. I'm just trying to relate that all this water that this subdivision is going to be put in. They say we're going to put these retention ponds in. Those retention ponds get full and they run right over. Plus, Bargersville has a 3-foot pipe coming out of Bargersville that all the water from the addition there at Bargersville behind the bank all comes down through this same ditch. And what I'm suggesting to alleviate this water going through my field, say picture number 20, picture number 7 on 5/4/25, there's a county tile that runs down the middle of this field. And it's way overrated, it's over full. And a couple of years, it's been probably 8 or 9 years ago, they were trying to do the same thing, put an addition across 135. And this number 7 picture is looking up, that's 135 where you see the telephone pole. And they have suggested that we run a 3-foot RCP pipe right down this fence line that ties into the ditch from 135. And that takes care of the county tile that runs through the property. And right across the road, it's marked on the map, a swamp. So it collects all the water, and I don't care how many ponds you put in, you're not going to be able to stop all this water coming across. It's coming down to Highway 135, coming across from that addition. The majority of it is. So that's my little spiel. I appreciate what Greg's doing, trying to get a handle on this, because every year this happens. Not once, not twice, a lot of times, comes right through my field, and it's destroyed the property value of my field. But we've looked at, I've met with the county surveyor down and showed we do have drawings of this going across my field to alleviate that water. It's still going to go to the ditch, but it's not going to be impacting my property. And I think that they say that, the water is, all the ponds are going to choke them down. Well, this water's got to go someplace, guys. And they get full and they stay full. So that's my biggest problem. And all that ditch, this Southland group that's here tonight has got the same problem there. You know, they're gonna dump all this water of all these homes. And there's gonna be more homes going in, and I appreciate what you're trying to do to alleviate this. But these people want to start construction next year. And I think this proposed 3-foot culvert that's already been approved at one time 10 years ago needs to be put in there to alleviate the water from 135 coming across my property. And I do have estimates on it, what it would cost to do it. So, any questions for me?
Have you shared those estimates with Greg?
No.
Okay.
But I do have estimates in there, and it's not that bad, to tell you the truth. But I can, whatever, $200,000 would alleviate a lot of problems. But I don't think it'd be the responsibility of us to do it, or the county to do it. Whoever's doing all these, build this building, need to step up to the plate to alleviate this problem. Maybe the county, it's got a county tile under it. Maybe the county ought to chip in something and replace that county tile, or just leave the county tile. It's additional drainage. And like the study you're starting to do or wanting to do, our ditch is clean. The county's done a great job cleaning everything out all the way to Bill Scott's, which is past me and past some other property, and from there to Mestick's, basically, the high school road, or all that new bridge that was just built. If that could be cleaned out, that would alleviate a lot of this back pressure, because it's completely full. It hadn't been cleaned, and Greg will tell you that, because it didn't have the money to do it, right, Greg?
It's not regulated.
That's not regular. That's one of the things you were talking about. But that would alleviate a lot of this, because there's going to be a lot of building going up at 135 within the next 10 years. And all this water's got to go someplace. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got to ask, anybody have any questions for Mr. Vandenberg? My biggest problem with this, I'll state it, is the downstream damage that these do. And you see evidence, I think you saw the evidence of this right here. So, these drains were never intended for this much water. They were built as farm, basically ditches. And now we've got major developments coming in. So the ditches, as you can see by the picture, is very evident that it's not handling right now without any development. So, I mean, I'm not stymieing development, but I'm saying some downstream studies need to be done by some of these developers, because as you're done, you walk away. And it becomes our problem. So we didn't create the problem, but we have to solve it. So anything you can weigh in on that?
With the culvert installation plan, we did perform a flood study. And that flood study, I'm gonna refer back to this. Maybe it's hard to see. The flood study basically stops right here, but it encompasses all this land upstream. And then when we designed the pond system within the development, the proposed 100-year floodplain elevations were included in that model. So any tailwater from the ditch is already accounted for in the drainage system. And then while we still conform to Johnson County's release rate requirements for 0.1, 0.3 CFS per acre, we do have some offsite. There's approximately, could you please flip to the last page of this presentation? I think it'd be better to view. Yeah, so this is the project site. 1B is approximately that red line, roughly. To the south, there's approximately 180 acres that currently flows north through our site and then through Larry's site to the Roberts Pruner. We are now collecting that, and it will be routed through our drainage system and the discharge right there. And even with, could you go back one slide, please? Even with that offsite we still see a reduction of 50% from the peak 100-year flow. And then you see greater results in the 10 and 2 years with smaller rainfall events. You'll see more of a reduction from the current conditions. And I believe that is all I have to add on all of that.
Just ask where's the culvert gonna be? On the Burrs property?
The east side of 100. Would you go back one? Yeah, one more. Right here. So this is our connection, our curb cut. The Bargersville Fire Station is this dash line right here, that parcel up there. This is where our curb cuts to 135 are, and then the culvert will just be to cross the ditch to serve this development.
So all that water is gonna go into that ditch also.
Yes, a majority of this area goes to that pond and then discharges just south of your driveway. And then that pond on the right discharges in that general location too. And then the entire west side of this development is routed to ponds and then under 135 and will discharge on the downstream side of
So you're
the
just
proposed.
rerouting the water around so it goes to the same ditch.
It will be rerouted, but the offsite, the peak release rates in the 100-year and every other year will be lower than what it is today. And then any future development that does spawn south of us, they can either route into the ditch. There's a corner of the ditch that the property, the south control or is on their property. But they also, as they develop, they'll take the offsite drainage and they'll control it. And then you'll see less peak release rates on this development as you'll have more detention upstream of that offsite. We're currently, with this development, you will not see any detention of that offsite.
Could you pretend that we don't know anything about retention ponds
Okay,
and explain in a nutshell
yeah.
how they work?
Okay, so in existing conditions, you have farm fields. Farm fields, when they're bare, they have a really high curb number, which basically means water doesn't like to soak into the soil there. It likes to run right off, and that's where you get ruts in your fields and stuff. As you develop, you get more grassy areas. Yes, you get more impervious areas, but a majority of that rainwater is going to be collected from storm inlets and routed to the detention pond. And then the detention pond has an outlet control structure that will limit the release of that stormwater over a longer period of time. Instead of in the existing conditions with the farm field, that water goes straight to the ditch, whatever time it takes to get from the most remote point to the ditch. That's how long it's going to take to get all that rainwater there. Where with detention ponds, it'll be routed through and released slowly over time, so that minimizes downstream flooding during high rainfall events.
And they do drain down.
Yes, they do drain down. Typically within 72 hours from the start of the event, 48 hours from the peak, somewhere around that time frame.
Okay.
Yep.
Bob, you got any questions? Tom, you okay?
Meeting all the release rates. Oh,
What if it doesn't? How are we gonna prove? It's still gonna go through my field regardless. I don't feel like I need to spend the money, put a damn tile down there when it's not my problem.
Yeah, you can speak. Just state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Cheyenne Hoffa, the entitlements manager for Four Star Group, 9292 North Meridian Street, Suite 211, Indianapolis. Thank you guys for hearing us today and Mr. Vandenberg, and we've met with Mr. Vandenberg a few times to go over some of his concerns as well. I did want to know, and Gavin can probably step in here too with more technical knowledge than I might have, but of these photos 3 through 7, maybe 8,
On which day?
On I'm sorry, on Mr. Vandenberg's exhibit,
We got two of them. We have two of them.
the fourth. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that there were two. I saw you gave me two, but yeah, sorry. Yeah, 5/4/25. That is part of another.
Yeah, that seems to be approximately the discharge point of have the tile name. Gross legal tile. And that was located part of this development, up until or shortly thereafter, 135, we stopped locating it. That has been located with this development.
And we do not plan to impact that legal drain at all. And he mentioned the swamp. There are some extensive wetlands and live 100-year oak trees that are regulated. And we're not touching any of that. Actually, the commercial block that is on the west side of 135, the most northerly commercial block, only a portion of that is going to be developed because there is a legal drain easement through there and the wetlands. So we're not doing anything over there that is going to impact. That's going to all be as it is existing. Our project is not going to worsen that at all because we're not impacting that legal drain whatsoever. I understand that it's definitely an issue and it's causing you some water on your property, but we're not impacting that portion of that legal drain at all, discharging to that portion at all. So I just wanted to note that because a lot of those pictures are part of a legal drain that we're not impacting as part of our project. Yeah.
Could you please flip to the last page of the presentation? So that approximate area of that location is right here. And as you can see, there's 74 acres of on-site land, and then there's probably 30 to 50 acres of off-site land that is all routed through that point today where that photo was taken. Plus you have additional drainage from the north from the tile. That tile flows right through here, through these wetlands and then under 135 to that point. So with this development, we're taking this chunk off. We are not impacting the tile. We have a commercial pad built. We're planning on building a commercial pad next to the tile. And then the developer of that commercial block, if they determine that they need more area to develop their commercial ground and they want to go through redoing that tile or reducing the width to an urban tile, that is up to the developer of that property, but that will not be Four Star Group. So with this proposed development, we will be taking off all the drainage that does surface flow over to this point. And then there is a 3 foot by 4 foot box culvert under 135 that will be extended with our State Road 135 improvements. I think it's extended 10 feet just to add an extra right turn lane. And then on the other side of that, there's a 15-inch pipe that I believe Larry installed, and then that goes to the tile. So I think part of the issue with that 15-inch pipe is it allows as the ditch stages, it allows tailwater to back up and bubble out next to State Road 135. That's just a potential issue that I could see happening there. But I'd have to look at it a little more to be certain.
So you've got your plans approved through NDOT?
We are currently in review right now. We have some minor comments that we have to address. We received those today. And then Bargersville will have comments to us by Monday, they said. And those we addressed all of their comments, and we're not expecting any more comments, but they may have a couple stragglers here and there.
Do you own the property yet? My property. It was passing blister on my property. We have not come to settle.
The passing blister has since been omitted as our second entrance to the north. So our first entrance that you guys saw previously is right here. We have a second entrance right up here that will be impacting a portion of that wetland. Since review with NDOT, they have determined with our traffic study and then their internal guidelines that northern entrance only be a right in, right out turn. So a passing blister going northbound on 135 is no longer warranted. So we will not be impacting anything east of State Road 135, north of the fire station approximately.
Board got any questions?
I don't know.
Look for a motion or something from the board.
I do want to clarify the record. I think I understand. Did Mr. Surveyor, did in your report, you say that they met all the county ordinance requirements?
That is correct.
One question I've got, will this change per the study that we would look at possible change on that? By choking down the release rates?
I don't think so. No, it's going to be included in that.
Um,
We had one on the east side of town. The developer wanted to change the drainage. They agreed to pay for additional. It could have worked into their development. That's a little different. This is off their side.
And it's all up to ask questions.
What was the question?
Oh, we just had another case on the other side of town where the developer agreed to pay additional drainage. But because it helped their development to change it.
Could you please go to the first page of the presentation? I do want to point out that these commercial blocks A, B, and C here will be retained by these original property owners. Four Star is purchasing all of the ground around it, and that tile flows all the way through block A. Does not impact any of the property that Four Star is purchasing. Just another tidbit.
So those commercial developments were not taking anything into consideration on any retention, detention.
No, these detention ponds are sized for it, and then we also have storm pipes sized for those.
Those commercial developments are designed into your retention.
Yep, 85% impervious area for the entire block acreage roll. And then same with these two blocks right here, but these two blocks will be dedicated to the town of Parkersville.
Green space.
It might be zone commercial.
Yeah, I think they're gonna expand the fire station on the northern block G. And then I don't know that they necessarily have plans for block H at this time.
Okay.
Greg's good with it.
He said he approved.
You're good with it.
Yes.
So this is not going to impact Mr. Vandenberg's property any worse than what it is today.
It's going to be in that same area, so it contributes to the drains that we're talking about. By reducing and holding back, it should help. It's one of those things. I've got an engineer that will say, hey, we're reducing, but yet we're producing more water. So I really believe a study is necessary. They meet the ordinance for our release. And the place needs study. So that future questions will have the answers. We'll know what the capacity of that ditch is.
Greg, it's been a while since I worked on that ordinance, but doesn't it also require the board to take into account the potential impact to downstream properties
I believe it does.
in connection with the approval process? Okay.
And this includes downstream studies.
Well, it could.
Could or this and does. I guess that's my.
Well, no, I mean, in order to get the information to the board, it could require additional studies. In order for the board to determine whether or not there will be an impact, a negative impact on the downstream properties.
That's my biggest concern. It always has been. So what's this doing downstream? I know you're meeting release rates, but you see the situation that we're in, and it bothers me that more downstream studies were not. I know we'll get into one a little bit later, but that's what concerns me the most about this is downstream. I know you guys have a project you want to get done, and you've got an engineer telling you that, yeah, you're not going to affect anybody downstream, but we're not for sure. So that's kind of my hold up on this personally. So.
Kevin, that was a budget figure. It can be done a lot cheaper than that, especially when you get a contractor on site with the equipment to be able to do that type.
I'm sure that neither one of these people sitting right here can approve that.
I know.
They can't approve that. So are you understanding what he's asking for?
Yeah, we. Compensate him for that in excess to help remedy his issue. Was not interested in this now we haven't fully can't even put the password.
What about my other culvert that needs to be replaced? You agreed to do that.
I would not agree to anything. At this
You
point.
agreed
You guys can take that out of here. We've got something we're dealing with up here. So.
I have one more thing. So the flood study that we did for this development to size the culvert, went down, downstream of this property, there are 2 more farm crossings, I believe, downstream of, there's one right here for Larry's driveway, and then I think there's 2 more. The flood study did encompass everything down to that point, and it showed the 100-year flood elevation of the creek was reduced with this development. And then anything within the open ditch itself was included in that study, just to confirm that whatever issues are in the ditch, that they were accounted for in this proposed pond system.
Did Burke review that study along with its review of the project?
As far as I know, yes. It was included in the drainage report that they reviewed.
They said they haven't given their approval yet. Still making comment. Okay.
Suggestions?
Board's got it in front of them. They got all the information, so.
I would like to see the project, keep you guys going, but I understand Larry's situation because that whole area is bad. And across the street, north of there, that field, it never drains hardly. And ever since they put the flapjacks area in there, it's kind of made things, the flow change. But what if we did do this and it does affect him, and then what do we do? I don't know the answer to that. Is there a way that you could compromise with them, like with a tile or something to make everybody happy?
guess all of our discharge is going to the ditch, so I just don't see what we can do. In the legal drain as it currently stands to reduce his issue.
Cause it's bad now. I mean, I can't see if you build all this, it's not gonna be as bad, I hope, because it does help, it does work. But, that whole area needs work, and that's not your problem, I understand that, but it's not Larry's either. So it's kind of an odd situation.
I will say, as I studied this area, a lot of the ground is very flat, so where the approach legal title goes to where that has a bunch of ponding. Where it starts at, that seems to be a very large, like 10-acre depressional area, right where the tile starts. So that is not all the issues, but part of the issues, it's just the flat terrain that is around this area.
Problem. They're not insured. The bonding companies will guarantee the work that's being done. Correct. Yeah, but not guaranteeing some future work, that they'll pay for some future work. Even on families that are future. But they better answer. That could be a low handed. So it's like all that's. Okay. I mean, it's that downstream study. I'm sure. And I turned it down. Works out.
I know. Okay. Sorry, I was just sidebarring on a legal question, so.
Bob, you got anything? You have any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
I think we got too much uncertainty in front of us. I don't think there's any. With Barber's building. It's hard to grasp everything's going.
I agree with Bob.
I didn't hear Bob.
He thinks there's too much uncertainty right now. And they said to including Marshall's part of it in Don. What else? Was there something else? What else were you concerned about?
I just can't grasp the magnitude of what we're sitting here talking about.
So what do you think we should do? What's your opinion?
I think we'll continue. Is to get some more answers.
Okay,
Let's see what I would feel like.
okay. Yeah. Kevin, we motion to continue it until we get some more information, including from Barbersville. When they get their whatever their vote is, when is it voting?
What is?
Or they're just have a few comments left to approve, is that right?
We were told they would get us any outstanding comments back Monday, and then following that, we will follow steps to get approval from their town council.
So you want to hold until they get those comments?
Yeah.
Okay, but you make the formal motion, so you're gonna. I think the motion states that they're gonna hold until you get all the information from Bargersville and comments answered before moves forward.
Can I ask, I guess, why? Like, if, what I guess I'm not understanding what comments they can have that would change this a month later. Unless it's a time thing that you guys just need more time to discuss it. I understand that, but my understanding is the only things they really have control over are the pipes internal to the development, but the release rates still fall on you guys and then the surveyor. So like there are outstanding comments that they had that we addressed 2 weeks ago were related to street vertical curbs and temporary cul-de-sacs. Those were the two outstanding comments that we revised for. So there was nothing drainage related to that. So I guess I would like to know why we need their full approval in order to get approval.
I apologize, I wasn't here last month, so.
Well, we didn't hear this.
Was
We
it,
didn't, this is first. No, this is a different one coming.
Larry was in here for a different.
He has two ditches. So,
He wants to know why. He wants to know why, what questions could be answered that,
I just.
to make it wait for a month.
I'd like to know firsthand from Barnersville, what they're, how they grasp this thing. It's such a large project.
Did you hear that? It's a large project and he would like to know that Bargersville's already on board and approved it,
I got you.
because it is a big project.
It is.
So we motion to continue it till next month. After Bargersville gets their answers to you.
I will pass any outstanding comments over to Greg and he can share those with you.
one question I've got.
Yeah.
Is it gonna, are you gonna require them to renotice? Are you gonna require them to renotice?
I would not think so because it's my opinion. that-
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Well, let me explain why for the record. This will close the public hearing today. You've had your public hearing. So what I anticipate at the next meeting is no additional public comment, no additional presentations. The board simply
make a-
considers the input from Bargersville. At that point, if the board does have questions of the developer, they can ask those questions. But I'm not anticipating the board entertaining more public comment coming in. So for that reason, the hearing, in my opinion, the hearing closes today. The
Okay.
board's just going to receive additional evidence in order to make a decision.
Okay, everybody understand
I
that?
did, sir. Clear.
Okay. So that's the motion. We'll continue at 30 days. So all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. Okay,
Thank you for your time.
thank you. All right. Moving on, the next one is DR 25-000-3604 Fairhaven Christian Church, commercial preliminary and final. Ashton Fritz with Fritz Engineering.
Good evening. I'm Ashton Fritz with Fritz Engineering. Address 14020 Mississinawa Drive, Carmel, 46033. As stated, we're here for preliminary and final drainage board approval for a building addition on Fairhaven Christian Church located at 1476 West County Road 300 South. This project is I'll say a continuation, albeit 15 years later. The project came before the board and received approval back in 2010 for I'm going to guesstimate about 22,000 square foot building addition. They only built about 10 back then. And here comes the other 10,700 some change. There is no new proposed drainage infrastructure. All the infrastructure was built back in 2010. This building addition will simply be filling in the spot that wasn't built back then. Drainage infrastructure includes on-site inlets, pipes, a detention basin, etc. Glad to answer any questions or comments.
Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. Basically recommending approval with the condition noted on here that any further development in the future will have to adhere to whatever future requirements are. Since this was previously approved, we recognize that, and this is more or less grandfathered in our opinion, and we would ask the board to approve that.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the board?
I move for approval with the condition
Okay,
about future development.
Second.
all right, we have a first and a second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next one on the agenda is DR 25-0414-3611 Lone Pine Farms encroachment R.A. Alexander, Braun Property Development. Josh,
Yes, sir. Josh Schreiber with American Structure Point, 9025 River Road, Suite 200, Indianapolis, Indiana 46240. Here to represent, and Adam Braun is online.
I'll start. Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. I want to start by the surveyor declares and reclassifies the R.A. Alexander tile to be urban from the east right of way of Honey Creek Road north approximately 1,900 feet to a point where the regulated tile meets a private tile, and that is just southeast of Smoky Row Road. The second thing I would like to do is the surveyor recommends a reduction in the right-of-way easement of that section that is now urban from 75 feet either side to 40 feet either side.
board want to take those two things into consideration or motion? Clearing an urban drain.
I think isn't the reclassification solely up to the surveyor?
So he
Yes.
can do it on his own.
Yeah, so, and I assume reduction of the easement comes automatically then with reclassification, or does that take board action?
It's a board action,
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
thought.
So you've reclassified it as urban.
correct?
Okay.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the area, this is just west or the other side of the road from the REMC project. That area we relocated, rebuilt, and declared that urban. So this kind of continues that up north.
A lot of stuff happening around here.
So your first motion is to reduce the easement.
Yeah,
I move to reduce the easement. Yes. 40 feet.
okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passes.
Again, for the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. I've got some conditions. In this, it would be a reconstruction, and it's solely on the developer's property. My condition would be that the reconstruction is at the developer's expense. Nothing be constructed over the tile. Easement signs provided by the surveyor's office to be placed on along the path. That's 3 signs. Tile to be constructed in accordance with the development plan and the tile to be protected during the construction activity. A bond for 125% of the engineer's estimate provided to the drainage board. Confirmation from the city of Greenwood of the encroachment. Even by reducing that, we're going to have some encroachment by the city of Greenwood, the trail and the road. Surveyor to be provided a as-built with location description, depth and extent of any encroachments. And surveyor's office to be given 48 hours notice before working in the easement. Now I'll turn it over to Josh.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Greg. I'll go ahead and present and show you what we are proposing to do within this easement. I assume everyone can see my screen, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. North is to the right in this situation. Honey Creek Road is along the bottom or to the east. As you can see, the green line is the outline of our proposed reconstruction of this existing 8-inch tile. We are proposing to reconstruct it in a same size, but as a solid wall HDPE pipe with a 12-inch RCP crossing under Honey Creek Road. We are required by Greenwood to widen Honey Creek Road approximately 4 feet. Therefore, we are realigning the tile to be 10 feet outside of the proposed edge of pavement. Greenwood is also requiring a 10-foot asphalt path to be installed within the proposed right-of-way that we will be dedicating via secondary plat. So that will be encroaching. And otherwise, there will be just minor grading because this area is relatively flat, similar to what it is now. I will state there is a drainage ditch beyond the edge of this tile. That drainage ditch drains to our proposed storm sewer and then into our proposed pond. So nothing from our site will be contributing to this legal drain tile. I was not expecting to hear the urban reclassification. We don't have an issue with that. I think maybe it takes some of the asphalt path out of the encroachment, but not an issue. We do have the signage already shown on our plans. And otherwise, Greg, I think the only condition that I would ask is that I think it was item number 2 where you stated nothing to be built over the legal drain. Obviously, we may have some utility crossings, or I don't know of anything else on this one in particular, but I would ask that be amended to allow nothing to be built over the legal drain besides what's showing in the development plan. And with that, that's everything I have to say about this, so unless there's any questions.
I have any questions?
So they put in a solid tile.
Yes.
Would there be any tile like from the other side of the road that feed into that?
No, anything that's feeding into it is coming from the north.
So it won't affect any.
So with on the site, there would be no water coming in.
And I can
Anybody in the audience have anything to say?
Greg, do you agree with his condition of your condition?
I do, as long as they follow the development plan.
Okay.
We fully intend to.
I move for approval with all the conditions that Greg outlined in his presentation.
With the condition on the condition?
Yes, number 2.
Okay. Number 2. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carries.
Awesome. Thank you, board members.
Okay, next on the agenda is DR-25-040-3610. Reese Wholesale Storage expansion continued to 9/2/25. Commercial outlet Canary regulated.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. We have not had enough time to do our review of the resubmittal. And the surveyor's requesting continuance to September.
Okay. Need a motion from the board.
A motion to continue.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is DR 25-999-3591. Shanna Properties, Building 2, Commercial Preliminary. Shanna Properties. Shanna. Nobody else is on?
Yeah, I'm on. Chris Duke.
Okay,
Yeah, Chris Duke, 3567 East, 700 North, Whiteland, Indiana. Really nothing more to say than what was presented in the drainage report and asking for approval so that we could build this storage building.
For the record, Richard Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
no, I would just say, go ahead and go, yeah.
Okay, thanks. This was a submittal for a second building. It was submitted a few months ago, but they had to go to BZA to get use approval to have a second building. It's just a 5,000 square foot building. They are expanding the detention area. Everything meets with our ordinance and our technical standards. We recommend approval. We have two conditions. The first is that we receive or they submit a recorded copy of the executed operations and maintenance manual to the planning and zoning department. And the second is to submit a recorded copy of the proposed drainage easement for the same.
Are you okay with that, Chris?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I would look to board for a motion.
Okay.
Did-
You okay with it?
Is there an opportunity for public comment?
Yeah.
Great. My name is Kyle Russateritz. I'm an attorney with Denton's, 10 West Market Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. I represent the landowner to the north. Been in communication with Chris Duke, Mr. Hoover, and others in the jurisdiction. We were part of the conversation at the BZA level to have those commitments binding the property. As just noted in the commitments, they required that the plans be submitted for technical review committee and drainage board approval and submitted to my client. We've reviewed those plans, have no specific comments to the plans. Chris and his engineering team has been fully responsive and complied with presenting those plans to us. I would just note that the concerns of my client that again owns the property just to the north is confirmation from Mr. Hoover and the drainage board that the drainage plans presented by Chris and his client are satisfactory both to planning staff, engineering staff, and the board to make sure that the surface drainage and other drainage outfall of the property does not impact my client's retention facility that lies again just north of the proposed expansion of the building. So if Mr. Hoover and the board have reviewed the plans and can confirm that that the plans will satisfactorily keep the drainage away from my client's retention pond, and then no other comments from my client.
All right, so let me comment on that.
Sure.
The drainage board reviews plans to see if they conform to the county ordinance, not to see if they can conform to an adjoining landowner's proposed development. Okay, so
it wouldn't be a proposed
I don't know
development,
what the
it'd be an
board's
existing
looked at,
development.
other than the plans have been reviewed based upon the ordinance requirements. That's the obligation of planning and zoning in this board. All right.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. You have all the information in front of you.
And once again, to confirm for the record, this does meet the county ordinance requirements.
It does.
So
There was a condition.
Two.
Two
two
conditions.
conditions.
Yes.
Yeah.
I move for approval with the two conditions.
Okay.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All not in favor, say aye. Everybody's in favor, so we're good. All right.
Get one Scottsdale.
Yeah, Scottsdale.
There we go. Skipped one. We did skip one.
Hmm,
I was trying to wait.
I checked it. My bad.
I
My bad.
was waiting patiently.
Everybody was so on it if you just enjoyed watching the show.
As long as I'm not part of the show.
Sorry, I apologize. I checked it off and I shouldn't have. Next on is DR 25-029-3599 Scottsdale Estates, Section 6. Municipal plat, outlet encroachment, new legal drain. New legal drain.
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. This is the project that you were talking about that you had pushed out 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
They have provided a letter, which you could not act upon, requesting to be heard tonight. With that, I asked them to do notification just in case they were allowed to do it tonight. They have complied with that.
Okay. Have you received any information more than what I asked, that what we asked, the board asked for last meeting?
I'm going to let the petitioner give his presentation.
Okay.
Yes. Once again, Josh Scribler with American Structure Point, 9025 River Road, Suite 200, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46240. And yes, we requested a reduction of that 60-day continuance to 30-day continuance, and we completed the re-notification of the neighbors as required. And like I said, I appreciate you allowing us to talk here rather than waiting until that September 2nd. We did provide an updated letter to Greg stating why we thought we should be heard sooner and why we meet the ordinance requirements and why we are not causing an issue downstream. First off, we did have Christopher Burke approval back on June 9th, 2025, stating that we are not causing an issue or meeting the ordinance. We did run additional models comparing the existing fields that are going to be developed. And you can see it here in this table, which I will zoom into. For the 100-year storm, the existing models show that almost 200 cubic feet per second are coming off that field to this point where it crosses under Whiteland Road. With our development, we are going to reduce that down to 6.39 cubic feet per second. And we're going to do that by utilizing multiple ponds in this area, allowing that water to stack and sit in those ponds, similar to what Gavin said, releasing in 48 to 72 hours rather than a flash hitting that point and flooding everything downstream. So we believe we will be making it better by doing that. Actually, I know that's why the ordinance is there. It's to make things better. So we are meeting that. We are exceeding it. You can see we're approximately 33% of what's allowable. And that's due to cover under Whiteland Road. We cannot get a big enough pipe in there to outlet more. So we're holding it back. We've oversized our ponds. We've modeled them for the 100-year back-to-back, which is traditionally accepted as the catastrophic event. And those ponds still stage and stay within our top-up bank. They do not spill out and go over Whiteland Road. We have agreed to tile improvements for this existing 10-inch tile that goes along the north side of Whiteland Road on our property. We are going to replace that with an 18-inch RCP tile, which we are not contributing any flow to. We're also going to extend it northward to pick up the low point of the field that's to the west of us to ensure that that drainage is perpetuated. And actually the tile is just barely on the edge of the legal drain right now. So we are as Greg said, reclassifying this as an urban regulated drain, and we're going to center up on where our tile is actually located. And then I will say there is no open ditch on our property for us to improve. That is all south of us. We are completely a tile on the north side of Whiteland Road. Therefore, we have nothing that we can improve. The improvement that we are offering is that drastic reduction in the flow that is going to help to reduce what you're seeing downstream as far as this flooding. And then just a couple things here. This is the Christopher Burke letter stating that we meet the ordinance. And CBBEL recommends approval of the drainage plans as it pertains to expected impact on the Alexander Ditch and Scott Pruner legal drain open ditches. So obviously that implies that there is no adverse impacts expected. And I think that's attributed to the drastic reduction in the flow coming off this site. The legal drain in question is this dark red area in the southwest corner. That is that 10-inch tile. It more or less comes along the north side of this based on what we were able to field locate. And I'll show you in a second what we're replacing that with. Right now, this kind of striped hatching is everything that goes directly to the ditch culvert that crosses right here where my arrow is. And then we are also taking this portion that currently flows eastward towards Honey Creek Road and Whiteland Road, which is also a problematic area for flooding at that intersection, if anybody's familiar with it. We're taking that and bringing it to this defined location. And this is, let's get to this one. This is the proposed new tile. You can kind of see the layout of all of our drainage patterns here. We have storm sewer that comes right up against this to make sure that we are not sending any storm sewer to it and that we are collecting our own storm sewer and taking it to our ponds. You can see this line here is the north edge of the existing legal drain. And then this line just to the south is where we potholed that 10-inch tile and are connecting it into a structure. Greg had asked for a legal description and exhibit at the last meeting, just to get this recorded and defined for the new easement, and we have provided that. So we will be ready to execute that as soon as it's ready. And I think that takes me through everything that I thought was worthwhile to note here. Also, Greg provided some conditions at the last meeting, and we agreed to all of those, as well as the conditions that were sent just before this meeting.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Any comments from the audience?
Just adding more water to the same ditch. Right, Greg?
It's same area, yeah.
So remind the board, this is what we put a 60-day stay on. We needed more information, and if that information that Josh just presented is enough for the board.
Excuse me, I'm unclear on one thing, and part of it was like the volume wasn't, I didn't quite understand. Greg, did Burke affirmatively state that they found no adverse impact on downstream properties, or was the report just silent on that matter? If you know.
I do have Burke's letter up on the screen, if that's beneficial for anybody to see.
Not for me, I can't read it from here.
Sorry, I tried to zoom in as much as I could.
It's okay.
Burke recommends approval of the drainage plans as it pertains to the expected impact on Alexander Ditch and Scott Pruner legal open ditch.
Okay.
I will say you might infer that the expected impact would be positive from that statement.
I guess I would put it to the board. Does this answer the questions that caused the board to continue this for 60 days to get those questions answered?
Yeah, I mean,
I would say that's.
it does, yeah.
Okay.
It does answer. That's what we asked for. Have you guys had time to review that?
So is this under Barbersville too?
No, this is in Greenwood, and Greenwood has
This
improved.
is in Greenwood,
Greenwood.
so we just get to receive all their stuff.
Bob, you have any questions?
Second.
Okay. Well, we have a motion on the floor for approval and a second. Anybody got anything else to say?
Part of our concern is still the downstream water, but I don't think, we can't resolve that with this.
No, it's gonna be, go ahead.
I have a question on the area that you included in your area. You said, if I understood correctly, yes, you had part of that's going to the east currently, and you're taking it to the west,
Yes.
the blue
Yeah.
area.
This blue area currently goes to the east, hits a culvert, and then continues going eastward. I can show you on Beacon right now if you'd like to see.
No, that's okay. Go back to that map, please.
Okay.
So when you calculated or determined your proposed release rates that go south under Whiteland Road, did you include the area that you're bringing into this
Yes.
as part of an allowable release rate?
That's a twofold question. Our allowable release rate was based just on the area that currently goes here.
Correct.
So the allowable release rate was further reduced. The allowable release rate did not include this blue area.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Cause that drains.
That's what they've done is they've included that area that used to drain to the east, and they're draining it to the west. But they haven't considered that area in their allowable release rate.
And the allowable release rate, just to prove it to you, the allowable release rate is 0.3 CFS per acre. Our on-site is 60.19. Go back to this table.
Thanks.
60.19 times 0.3 is 18.06, which is this number here.
Okay, thank you.
So they have.
So it's not included. They're adding that area to the drainage. They are adding it to that. To his
south.
Yes, to the area that's going south. But they didn't consider that in their release rate. So basically they're storing all the water from that area to not impact the release rates going to.
So they're holding that all back. Do you understand that, Larry?
There's gonna be another ditch right on Honey Creek Road. That water's gotta go someplace right next to the blues to the right. That's gonna happen.
When this gets developed, there will be additional ponds that further hold it back to help that.
Okay.
I don't think that impacts our discussion here about the detention and the reduction of the rates and that sort of thing. they are significantly reducing reducing the peak rates that are going to the south. Ideally, on paper, that'll help, but we still don't know what the capacity of that ditch going to the south. That they're doing what they're doing and even releasing it at a lower rate than what's allowed does have a positive impact on that area to the south ditch. It still boils down to what really is the capacity of the ditch and the study that we talked about at the very beginning.
From photos, looks like the ditch is at capacity.
Yeah.
They need to be cleaned out. I mean, it's something needs to be done. Would help alleviate the problem.
Well, we've looked at, there's options, 2-stage ditches to increase the amount of water that can hold or push through it. So
And everything up on that corner. Do little bit of other stuff, all that.
the corner, that S curve is flooded for 30 years.
Oh, but it's power runs down through there too. All the way to the ditch.
Yeah.
And again, probably of significant impact to the capacity of that ditch or the crossings that are in there today. Because
Yeah.
that reduces the flow area significantly too.
You know that, you understand that, Larry. Yeah. But you got to get from point A to point B. So. All right, I have a motion and a second on the floor for approval of this. So. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So. Motion carries. Sorry for skipping over you. Josh,
Hey,
I
I'm
saw your
here.
name on here. I guess I looked at the wrong item.
All good. I appreciate you all's time this evening and wish you a good night.
Okay. Okay. New business?
I don't have
We got on Ray Land, Indiana LLC, John Campbell assessment for Scott High Bridge reconstruction. And he has patiently waited for 2.5 hours.
promise this will be the least controversial of anything. The rest of Commissioner Walls, members of the board, my name is John Campbell. I'm here on behalf of ROA Land IND LLC. If I could approach and hand out a few items to you.
Yep.
Promise to be brief, since I'm holding up, having a pleasant evening. I'm here out of concern over the drainage assessment that we had received in connection with the Scott High Bridge reconstruction. If you would, please refer to the map. Our parcel is a narrow sliver of property used to access the sign. That's it. It's virtually useless except for that purpose. As you can see from the info I provided, the county recognizes this as a useless remnant of property, and they even have the assessment at $100. I mean, the property is truly worthless otherwise. If you would, please see the highlighted section of the large spreadsheet that I handed you. And I apologize. I know most of us are wearing glasses, so the type is a little bit smaller. I tried to blow that up as much as I could for you. We've received an assessment in the amount of $3,906.50, which is based upon 8.33 acres of property. Our parcel is 0.96 acres. The total cost of the project was $192,882 divided by the 510 acres of affected property per the spreadsheet that Mr. Cantwell had provided me previously. This comes out to an assessment of $378.20 per assessed acre of property as identified on the spreadsheet that the county also provided. Yet our payoff is over 10 times that amount. My understanding is the minimum area assessed was 8.33 acres, with the largest parcel being 78 acres. Gentlemen, as I explained to Mr. Cantwell, we have no issue in paying our fair share, but we do not think it's right to have to pay the taxes of others. And this is what we are assessed with, 10 times per the assessed acre fee of $378. Therefore, we request our assessment to be revised to reflect the actual cost and the actual property impacted, which is just under 1 acre and not 8.3 acres. Thank you, and I appreciate your consideration.
Greg, you got any comments on this? You looked at it in depth?
For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. When we did the reconstruction, the way we divided that reconstruction cost, we followed the assessment split. The annual assessments had that, at the time, it had that 8 times for the minimum. So we followed that when we did the reassessment or for the reconstruction.
Yeah. And we're talking about how much land?
0.96 acres.
Is this common throughout, Greg? Are they all assessed this?
This project, we continued that. We spread that the same way we did the annual assessments across that entire project.
So this is in line with everything else we've done. This cost 3906. Is that the correct number?
I don't have that in front of me. But I can. Are you looking for a total cost of the project?
Well, his project, he said, was $170-some thousand.
It was the project was 192, 882.50. Divided by the 510 acres.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 property, no, five properties assessed at that amount. And trying to find the acreage numbers. I guess I do have a question, Greg. I see one that was assessed for 2205 and another for 2646. What? If I understand it right, and one for 22, another 2205. So 3370 is not the minimum assessment out there?
Greg, is there any structures or anything on this property?
At the construction, there was a culvert or structure on this property because this was the access to the sign. So there was a culvert at that point and we did remove it. It was collapsed.
Okay.
So your assessments, though, are based on watershed acres? Not the actual acreage?
Some parcels, I believe, weren't entirely in it.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is and I just don't know. But I'm looking kind of in the middle. Oh, I see 1.05. Okay, a 0.05 acre parcel was assessed at 2205. That's kind of in the middle there.
They're 0.8696. I don't know how that would calculate out. So, Mr. Campbell, what would you recommend this being dropped to?
Well, based on the information that the county provided me, the assessed per acre cost was $378.20. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody here that would voluntarily pay 10 times more than what the tax should be. And from our perspective, we've been grossly overbilled for it. And
But
it's
we-
not accounted for in proportion to the properties. Anything over 8.3 acres was assessed at the number of acres that they had. But if you were under 8.3 acres, everybody got lumped into 8.3 acres. And I'm sorry, but that's just not right. If it was your property, how would all of you respond?
Greg, has this come up before?
It has not. If you can recall, this was our first reconstruction that we've had in a while.
That's why the rates were so much higher.
They were based on the old way we divided things. So the annual assessment that they're paying, we're paying up until the reassessment last year was 8 times. It had a minimum.
Yeah, I remember we talked about the minimum.
So some of these parcels like the 0.05, that's likely a piece of a much larger parcel, but only the 0.05 is located within that watershed. Is that what I'm
I
seeing?
believe so, yeah.
That's
And I
what I'm
think some of
seeing
those
there.
may have been the right of way.
Okay. But it got assessed $2,205.
That was what, City of Greenwood?
Well, I don't know.
I think the road right of ways they lumped together.
All stated the same.
And then see, there's Then there's a 1.94 acres was assessed at 2205.
Yeah, I see that up there.
Now, that's City of Greenwood.
I think all those are City of Greenwood.
Okay. All the ones that are assessed less than the 3370 or City of Greenwood.
And I think they lumped that acreage together.
Okay. Okay, sure. Okay. What I'm trying to get at is the assessments must be uniform across categories. I'm trying to make sure that apples are assessed as apples and not one apple is assessed in an orange. I'm trying to just make sure in my own mind that within a category, all of the assessments are equal. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. You recall in 24, we did our reassessment and we've gone with a completely different
Right.
theme.
Well, the old assessment tool was legal.
Yes.
It wasn't, I mean, it was,
Yeah,
in
because
accordance
that's
with
the way
law,
we've
too.
done it for 40 years.
that doesn't mean there isn't a better way to do it, but the way it was done was also
Legal.
a way that was
Yeah.
allowed by the statutes.
So what we've done, if we were to do this project again, we would use the new way of dividing that up. It's just the amounts. You still have the same amount that this particular watershed has to pay for.
And this is a one-time payment only, correct?
Yes.
Or one-time assessment, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is part of the Tracy, which is 6,500 acres in the watershed. The Scott Highbridge has 6,970 linear feet. We only did 1,300.
Do you recall when the board approved this reconstruction and your assessments? When that order was issued? Let me ask it this way, was it more than 60 days ago?
Yes.
Okay, there's a legal problem here. The statute's pretty clear. There is a time within which orders of the board may be challenged in court. And the time for the challenge is long since
I was
passed.
just gonna add, when we had our own damn meeting,
That's what, that's why I say it down, but
Final question to Greg, maybe not final. If the board were to reduce this assessment, you would have to get that money by assessing some other property. Because you would then have less than 100% coming in to cover the cost of reconstruction.
Correct. Yeah, it's got to come from that
Some other,
project.
it would have to be imposed against some other property to get you back to your 100%,
It would have to be divided, I assume, equitably among.
according to the same formula. But then that implicates then all of the other tracts of land that are less than 8 point whatever acres. All right,
I believe those are all right away
okay.
and they were clumped together.
So everything except this gentleman's property is more than the 8 point whatever acres.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this could have been the smallest other than the right of way.
Okay.
Board have any questions?
any questions, Bob?
We're still dissecting the spreadsheet here a little bit. Everybody understand the premise of this?
I see column M is actual land, then column N is how it's assessed by the. So like. Second one down is just 2 acres of royal land, but gets called at 8.33.
That's the minimum. We
Yeah,
have stuck
that's
with
the
the
minimum.
minimum.
So every one of them, it's less that they get hit with. That.
Yeah.
That's the way we set it up.
On some of these, smaller reconstruction projects.
So it's not necessarily per the total acres. It's
Based on a minimum.
Yeah, I'm looking at a 2.44 acre tract. Was it assessed to 3370?
Mm-hmm. It's a minimum.
Yeah. It's like your water bill. You pay a minimum payment, whether you use 1 gallon or 3,000.
3,000. Yeah. So the request is to reduce the rate. That would be up to the board to say yes or no to.
No, I don't think we can when there's all these others. It's the same thing.
Okay. So that would be the motion to leave it as is.
That'd be my motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. It's gonna stay where it is. So all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So it's to pay.
Okay, the next board meeting will be on September 2nd at 6 p.m., same place. So for a motion.
Moving, adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We are adjourned.